So what do functional programmers mean when we talk about a layered design? Hi, my name is Eric Norman, and these are my thoughts on functional programming. So, in the last episode, I was talking about organizing your code. And I mentioned something about dependencies, and you should kind of follow the dependencies because those are going to guide you into what goes with what. And as soon as I stopped recording, I realized that there was something I left out. So let's say you have some functions, like you have a function A and it depends on B, and you have a function B and then B depends on C, and C depends on D. If you have another function E that doesn't depend on any of those, it's probably separate and it should be in a separate module if you're looking for, where things to split off into their own modules. But very often what you'll find is when you have this long chain of dependencies, the things at the end of the chain are actually very stable and kind of universally usable in a way that the stuff at the top of the dependency chain is not. So what I mean is, you might have, let's say you're writing a program with a lot of graphics, and so you have stuff that a lot of things depend on that are kind of at the bottom, like how to draw a square or a rectangle, how to place text, right? And then when you're actually making your histogram, that's going to use the placing the text and placing the rectangle, right? And then something that is higher than the histogram is going to do something else and draw a histogram on it. That's going to be on top, right? So that's your A is the thing on top, then B is drawing the histogram, C is your routine for drawing a rectangle. And what you should notice is that those things that are at the bottom of that dependency graph, dependency tree, those things start to stabilize. And they're not going to depend on stuff at a higher level of abstraction. They're going to stay on that low level. And what you're looking for is like a stratum, like a layer, where all these things are at a very similar level of abstraction. They don't depend on anything above them in the level of abstraction, and they depend on things lower than them, right? And that stratum, especially as it starts to sort of stabilize and you're not modifying it too much, that could totally go in its own namespace or module. That's something that, that's like a goal, is to put code in a file and it's so stable and so perfect for what you need that you never have to open that file again. You never edit it, right? That's kind of the endpoint past the horizon. But that's what you're trying to move towards. Something that is I just know the 5 functions in there, 500, maybe it's 20 functions. I know the 20 functions in there, and I never have to modify them because they're just solid. And they're not depending on stuff. They're depending on stuff that even is modified even more seldom, right? So you're making this layered design where each layer is a level of abstraction. Things in that layer at the similar level of abstraction, and the dependencies point down toward things at a lower level of abstraction, and lower and lower. And the things at the higher level, those are the things that are going to change a lot. Okay, they change the most. So you're looking for level of abstraction, change, and direction of dependencies. And this is a design that is talked about, I think, at the right length in structure and interpretation of computer programs, where you can sort of design these layers so that you do have this property of things depending down on lower level of abstraction, and so the things at the top are the things that change. I think they did a graphics thing too in structure and interpretation. They have the picture you're drawing is the thing that changes the most, because you're like an artist experimenting with like what your picture is going to look like. But then down at the bottom you have these really fundamental routines like plotting pixels and rotating and translating points and stuff. So like that's all going to be very stable. And in between you have things that are like sort of halfway between an artist making some masterpiece and drawing pixels. It's some intermediate stuff like mirroring a picture. So mirroring a picture, or like rotating a picture around an axis, that kind of thing. So that's the layered design. That's what you're looking for, and it's also a handy way to organize your code. To be looking for these modules where the module itself is at a certain level of abstraction and the dependencies are all in one direction. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. My name is Eric Normand, and you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Eric Normand. I also appreciate getting emails. Email me, eric@lispcast.com. See you later.